You know, the idea of stopping aging. It's always sounded like something straight out of a movie, right? But what if I told you that science fiction is getting really, really close to becoming science fact? A whole bunch of scientists are starting to believe that we could hit this massive turning point by the year 2030. Now, we're not talking about some mythical fountain of youth here. We're talking about a real, tangible scientific horizon. So, can we actually stop the clock? Let's dive in and see what the science says.
And, this isn't some brand new idea. As Dr. Charuluv points out here, this dream is ancient. It's literally woven into our oldest stories. For thousands of years, it's been nothing more than a fantasy. But for the very first time in human history, that fantasy is starting to collide with actual science, all thanks to a concept called
longevity escape velocity. This concept, it is a real game changer. I mean, just try to wrap your head around this. For every single year that passes, science and medicine can add more than a year back to your life. You'd literally be outrunning the aging process. It's not about becoming immortal, not really. It's about reaching a point where technology advances faster than you get older. And a lot of very smart people are pointing to 2030 as the year we might just pull it off.
Okay, so to even get a shot at this, we have to understand what we're up against. We need to identify the enemy. And it turns out the main culprits behind aging are hiding deep inside our own bodies. They're often called zombie cells. It sounds dramatic, I know, but you're about to see just how accurate that name really is.
So what's actually happening on that microscopic level? Why do our joints ache, our skin wrinkle? Why do our bodies just seem to break down over time? Well, the answer's in a process that's happening inside all of us, right now.
It all comes down to something called cellular senescence. See, normally, when a cell gets old or damaged, it does the polite thing. It either fixes itself or it hits his self-destruct button. But senescent cells, they're the rebels. They get stuck. They stop dividing and doing their job, but they stubbornly refuse to die. They just hang around, piling up in our tissues, just like zombies.
But here's the kicker. These zombie cells don't just sit there quietly. Oh no. As you can see here, they start spewing out this nasty cocktail of inflammatory chemicals. And this chemical storm does two really bad things. First, it causes this chronic, low-level inflammation all over your body. And second, even worse, it goes around and corrupts its healthy neighbors, basically turning them into zombies too. It's this awful, vicious cycle that just puts the aging process into overdrive.
So let's just break it down. These are the bad guys behind so many things we just accept as getting older. We're talking about everything from arthritis and brittle bones to heart disease, even things like Alzheimer's. As these zombie cells pile up in our organs, they drive the decline that we call aging.
Okay, so if these zombie cells are the villains of our story, then science is coming up with the superheroes. And this, right here, is where it gets incredibly exciting. We're talking about a brand new class of drugs designed specifically to fight back.
And they're called senolytics. The best way to think of them is like a highly trained special forces cleanup crew for your body. Their entire mission, their only job, is to seek out these dysfunctional, troublemaking zombie cells and take them out, while leaving all your healthy cells perfectly safe.
So how in the world did they do that? Well, these zombie cells have figured out how to build these little defensive shields for themselves so they can avoid that natural self-destruct program. Senolytics are designed to be like a key that unlocks that shield, finds the wires keeping it online, and cuts them. They basically remind the zombie cell that its time is up and help it push the self-destruct button it should have pushed a long time ago.
And look, this is not just some sci-fi theory we're talking about. This is happening right now. We are deep into human clinical trials. This table here just shows a handful of the therapies being tested against some of the biggest diseases of aging. I mean, look at this. We're talking Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, diabetic kidney disease. This stuff is moving incredibly fast.
Now, as amazing as senolytics are, and they are amazing, they're actually just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. They're one tool in a growing toolbox that scientists are building to fundamentally rewrite the rules of how we age.
You can kind of think of it like this. There are two main strategies on the table. The one we've been talking about with senolytics is cellular cleanup. It's like running a really good antivirus program on your computer to get rid of all the corrupted files. But there's another approach, cellular reset. This is like taking that same computer and just restoring it to its original factory settings. It uses Nobel Prize-winning tech to actually reprogram your cells to be young again. Both are just mind-blowing.
And then there's this other really clever approach. Scientists are trying to basically bottle the benefits of things we already know extend life. For example, we've known for ages that severely restricting calories makes animals live longer. But let's be honest, that's nearly impossible for us humans. So they're looking at drugs like rapamycin that seem to do the same thing in a pill. But, and it's a big but, there are still some serious side effects we're trying to figure out.
Okay, this is all fantastic, mind-blowing stuff. But it's all about the future, right? So that leads to the most important question of all. What about right now? What can we do today to make sure our bodies are ready to actually use these amazing breakthroughs when they show up?
Yeah, because that's really the heart of it, isn't it? These new therapies aren't going to be magic. How well they work for you is probably going to depend a lot on the health you bring to the table. So, what can we do to be ready?
Well, the experts who are deep in this field all point to 4, let's call them pillars. And they might sound simple, but in this new context, they're everything. We're talking about quality sleep, because that's when your body repairs itself. Healthy nutrition, to give your cells the right fuel and less stress. Regular exercise to keep everything working, and maybe some smart supplements to fill in the gaps. This isn't just your standard eat your veggies advice. This is literally a strategy for preparing your body for a revolution in medicine.
And this is why all that stuff matters so much right now. Because if we do hit longevity escape velocity around 2030, the physical condition you're in at that moment could be the one you get to keep for decades. So the big takeaway is this. The hard work you put into your health today isn't just for today. It's about showing up to this new era in the best possible shape. The question is shifting. It's not just if we can slow aging anymore. It's will you be ready when we can?